We're breaking down another prospect. And it's a running back one, and it's one that I think there's going to be plenty of disagreement on, and that is Kyren Williams out of Notre Dame.
I'll let Frank take it to start.
Oh, you want me to? I was planning on letting you take, because I felt like I went a lot on that last segment, so you can have this one.
All right, we'll let Jake build them up for Frank to break them down.
All right. So Kyren Williams, I think he's listed at 5'9", 200 pounds or right around there. I really think he's a do-it-all running back. I really like Kyren Williams' game. I thought he had, he's a very patient runner, and I think that you could see that very clearly if you just watch his games at Notre Dame. His speed is something that's not super, not a super plus, but it's good enough. But his best part of his game is his receiving ability. I think he runs fantastic routes. He's, one of the better backs out of the backfield in this class. And I think he's a guy that's going to be on the field for all three downs come the NFL. I know there's a lot of different opinions on Kyren Williams. Some like him, some don't. I'm of the opinion I think he's really good. I would pay up for him. I think he's a guy that should go in the early second round of your rookie drafts, and I think he'll probably go day 2 of the NFL draft. So with that being said, I understand there's some downside to him. He's not that big. He's only 5'9". But I don't know, Frank. What do you think of him? Because I love him. I would take him. I think he's the clear number 4 back in this class, and I think he's a really good value pick.
Strong praise words.
Yeah, I'm just curious where you think he's going to go in the NFL draft.
I have him probably a round 3 pick.
Yeah, to me, I think if I were to bet it, I'd probably say he's going to get a mid-round 5 pick. I think that's where my qualm comes in. Now, I think that he could get drafted in the early 4th. I do think that that's part of the range, and I've only watched 3 games on him, but I think that there are huge flaws in Kyren Williams' game. The first is that, yes, he's a patient runner, but I think that you can confuse patience when watching him with kind of just underdevelopment, like poor vision. To me, there are plenty of plays where sometimes I don't know where he's looking. Let me see if I can bring up the example. I should have had this ready on the pod. I'll be able to bring it up, but there is this one play that I saw, because this Notre Dame offensive line is phenomenal. Outside of their right tackle, they got some fucking dudes up there, professional people movers, and it wasn't hard to be productive in that offense. You got, dude, when they run duo, it's coach's tape. It's fucking awesome. And there's definitely upside, but I think he's small and he plays hard. But you see the smallness on tape. It's not like when I watched Philip Lindsay a little bit. I liked him a lot because he was small, but I didn't feel like I was watching a small running back. When he hit people, you were just like, dude, what the hell? How is he generating that much force? Not that Kyren Williams doesn't do that. Pound for pound, he's a good player. But he doesn't play that big. He plays within his body, and I think he's a fine player. He just doesn't really fit the NFL. I think that's more of my problem with him.
I don't know. I think he definitely has a role in the NFL just due to his receiving ability alone.
Yeah, but what's that role? I think that if I'm an NFL GM, yeah, he could have a role in the NFL as my second or third running back that I bring in to give a guy a breather. Maybe I can bring in on some looks, depending on who my other running back is, to see if I can. Okay, yeah, he's got good routes. So maybe if I'm going up against a team that runs a lot of man and I think I can get him a one-on-one against the linebacker, yeah, maybe I'll drop a play or two for him here and there. But I don't think that this is going to be a guy that's going to be able to get consistent workload at the NFL level. I think that that's being hugely optimistic. That's just my take on it, though. Let me find this one play.
All right. While you're pulling it up, I'll just, I do have similar concerns to Frank. I think what's interesting, Jake, is you have him as your running back 4, and who I already mentioned on the pod, Lance Zierlein for the NFL. He has him as a running back 10. I probably fall somewhere in between, probably more leaning towards running back 8-ish. But where that is, that kind of ranking that he gave him is similar to, just to get an idea, it's a Ramondre Stevenson, Kent Gainwell, Jamar Jefferson got those ranks last year. It's anywhere from a mid-third to a 6th, 7th round prospect. And to me, I think Kent Gainwell probably is what I think we'll see from Kyren Williams in terms of he's a good complementary back. Like Frank was saying, you could get him into certain defensive schemes. He's a good asset to have. But in terms of where he's going to be getting drafted in the late 1st, early 2nd, I think in rookie drafts, like dynasty rookie drafts, I just think that price is a little too much for me for that kind of player. I mean, if he hits, obviously that's great, but I don't see him necessarily hitting.
All right, here's the play that I'm talking about. For those watching on the YouTube, for those not watching on YouTube, I guess I'll do my best job of explaining it. But this is Notre Dame against USC, and this is the type of run where I think that a lot of people in the dynasty community, it's a big run from Kyren Williams. I think he scores on it, or he gets pretty darn close. And like a lot of people would say, oh, this is fantastic patience. He finds the crease in the hole, yada, 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 yada. But I look at this run and I see a pretty underdeveloped runner and a runner that I have a lot of question marks with. So we'll get through the play once here. He does that little cuts it back, breaks a tackle, and it's a huge gain, right? Now he's just in the 2nd level, showing off a little bit, whatever. But you go look at this, and this is just classic duo, which is 2 double teams from these interior guys that are working to both of these linebackers. And it doesn't take Bill Belichick to realize that this is a horrible defense by USC. There is a massive gap right here. And this is a great play call with the defensive line of USC that's been getting bullied all game. And when Kyren Williams takes his ball, like, you can't just go super downhill on do it. You kind of have to be a little bit patient to let your guards or your tackles work up to the 2nd level. And that maybe that's what he's doing here, and maybe it's more nuanced than I think, and he's trying to bait the linebackers. But to me, it's just like, why is he even thinking of cutting it back here? I watched this play so many times, and you look at the pre-snap look, it makes no sense to me. And then he finds the cutback lane, but that should be the play from the get-go. You're supposed to run it up the ass of these 2 double teams. And like, it's massive. And to me, this is a play in the NFL that separates a truly elite running back, or even a good running back, from a running back that I'm not sure I'm comfortable enough giving him the football. So, I think that that's a lot where I differ from the community on my valuation of Kyren Williams right now.
He was also, that Notre Dame offensive line is notoriously really good. So,
you want to see another clip of this offensive line and where I was pissed off at Kyren Williams? It's the same game.
Sure.
Jake, just close your eyes, turn off your ears, because you're not going to like this.
Or just switch to the podcast version of the episode.
4:55. I think it's the same game. Yeah, it's the same game. So, like, here's another. This is actually, it's like a very similar play where it's like, USC, what are you doing? There's just no one in the middle of the field. Like, you're getting bullied, and you're like, hey, why don't you just run it? And like, look at this convoy if you're watching on YouTube.
So I'll catch up.
Look at these. You got like 9 of these offensive linemen all down the field, just destroying everyone. Kyren Williams, you just have to walk. They could escort a grandma walking a walker to the 1st down here. And for whatever reason, he just doesn't follow the convoy. And it's like, dude, I just get confused. I get frustrated because I agree, Jake. I do see some of the upside, and I do see some of the flashes that you see, and I do see a good receiving back and whatnot. But to me, I have way too many question marks. I have an easy day 3 grade on him, and where he's going at in mocks, I am staying far away.
I guess where would you take him in a rookie draft?
That's just what
that's my question then, because like I have him personally as like somewhere around the 202, 203 range where I think he should go. But I'm very high on him, obviously. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to translate very well to the modern NFL, where he runs out of the backfield, he gets carries, because I think realistically he can run inside and run outside. I think he does a lot of different things very well. Obviously, he's not the perfect back, and we've seen it. You pulled up 2 clips where it shows where he's flawed. But I think with some good NFL coaching and stuff like that, he could get to that next level that you don't think he can get to. But so where would you take him is my question. So I would love to sit back and take him more at 208. I think that would be fantastic.
Well, if you were to ask me, like, if we were doing a draft right now, where would my value of him be? Probably a very early 4th or very late 3rd. Then again, I could be wrong.
You're talking
in a rookie draft. In a rookie draft.
In the 4th round of a rookie draft?
Yeah, like early 4th, late 3rd. Like, I mean, I liked Ramondre Stevenson more than him, and Ramondre Stevenson was going like mid 3rd. He was a day 3 guy. Now, once again, I could be wrong, right? You know, I'm not a professional scout. I've been wrong before. If he ends up going in the 2nd round of the NFL draft, like, yeah, I'm gonna have to pivot a little bit and, you know, lick my wounds and say, okay, I was a little bit wrong. I'm gonna have to bump this guy up. But as of right now, I hate him as a 2nd round pick. He's everything I despise in a 2nd round pick.
Wow, strong words. Right
okay, I got a little carried away there. I was thinking of it. And I'm like, this is gonna sound great.
I think the issue to me is I think he's going to be drafted in the NFL draft in like the late 4th, 5th round,
mid-5th,
roughly,
early 5th. What is pick 150?
Sure.
Where is that in the 5th round? Is that early 5th?
By that, I don't know. With the compensation picks, that might even still be a 4th, just based on all those picks. I don't know how it works anymore. It's probably an early 5th. But yeah, so where I'm going with that is like, if he gets drafted around there, like probably not touching him until mid 3rd-ish. Like we were saying earlier, I want most of those tight ends before I want Kyren Williams. I just think they're better bets.
I mean, similar
if he hits, it's in a high upside swing, I guess, like theoretically, but the expected outcome, I think, is lower on the likes of a Kyren Williams.
Sure, and I think similar to what Frank said, if he ends up being, you know, a 4th or 5th round picks, I'll have to, you know, turn back on the tape and see what I did wrong. Yeah, lick my wounds and see what I did wrong here, because I still, like I said, I think he's a pretty solid 3rd round pick, and I think he's a guy that teams are gonna want. And if I'm wrong, then I'm gonna have to adjust my value here in rookie drafts.
So P2 Thar or the R says if Kyren Williams was flawless in the run game, he'd be head and shoulders above every prospect in the draft. Every player has flaws. I agree with that, but the problem is that I think that he has major flaws, more so than a lot of the running backs that I've liked and graded the past couple years. I don't see Williams dropping out of the 2nd round in dynasty leagues I am in. I don't know. Well, it's one of those things like, if he does go day 3, like me and JT are thinking, and he goes to a really crappy landing spot, like he's probably going to be way out of the 2nd round. But then again, he could go day 3, but let's say he goes to the Falcons, and the Falcons have no one with even a pulse at running back. Well, yeah, he's going to stay in the early 2nd probably, right? Just kind of like Michael Carter was.
Well, so where are we running? Like, is he better than Zamir White? Is he better than Brian Robinson? We just watched Tyler Algier. Like, where
I mean,
we have
that's
him.
my question mark. I'm trying to figure out if he's better than Tyler Algier or not. I've actually really been struggling on that because I like Kyren Williams' tape more than I liked Algier's, but I can recognize the fact that Algier is physically way more of a back that I would be into drafting. I recognize that this guy has not been playing running back his entire life, so there's going to be, I guess you can expect more flaws as a pure runner in Algier's game and be just a little bit okay with it. I guess he gets a little bit more of an excuse is the right way to put it. To me, Kyren Williams, I watched some of these runs and I think he gives up on the run scheme at times too quickly. I really question his vision. And I just question how he's going to translate because of these flaws, on top of the fact that he's undersized and he's not super fast and he's not ridiculously shifty. Like, how is he going to fit? And why am I putting my pick into him over one of these receivers, especially in the early second? But I mean, it's a running back, dude. The thing is with running backs is that if they hit, a lot of the time they hit. They have massive value increases, right? Look at Elijah Mitchell. I didn't think he was going to be a 3-down back either. I mean, he was someone that I liked, but I liked him more as like a receiving back. And he's like the farthest thing from it.
Do you think he could end up being like a James White type of player, though?
I mean,
I think that's
yeah.
a possibility.
I mean, I think that's his floor. I mean, that's basically the worst case scenario is he's James White. He's a receiving back that gets not a whole lot of rushing.
I think his worst case scenario is being Boston Scott, bud.
Okay, fair enough.
I thought James White's
which is a worse James White. So I
guess James White's a solid player, I think.
Yeah, James White is good.
But with the fantasy relevance, you're not feeling great starting James. I guess in PPR it's a little more justifiable, but you're not feeling great really putting James White in your starting team. I'll say that's kind of what I expect from him, though, is a slightly worse James White. I think if he went to Wisconsin, it would have been a perfect fit.
I didn't look at Kyren Williams' production numbers. Did this guy just have nasty stats?
Yes.
He had like 80 receptions over his past 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, he caught a lot of balls, like 995 rushing yards, 42 catches for 359 yards. Yeah, he was definitely a nice. I'm actually surprised. I thought he would have had more receiving output.
He had 78 receptions.
Dude, you want to know what's something nuts? Those screen passes for Notre Dame, when they get those dudes, and Michael Mayer too, that guy's a beast. Yeah. I texted we have a group chat. Like, I texted them after watching that USC game. I'm pretty sure I was like, dude, Michael Mayer is just a beast. I wasn't even watching him catch the ball, just as a blocker. Like, oh man, he looks good. I mean, I've watched a couple of Notre Dame games before.
We noticed him too when we were watching Tommy Trumbull last year.
This
guy's the real tight end.